What's up, everybody? Hope everyone's having a fantastic day. I'm Anthony. On today's video, I want to show you how you can cultivate your very own mushrooms at home. Stay tuned. That's right, today we're talking all about cultivating your very own mushrooms. So in order for me to make sure that I'm staying on point here, staying in the general direction of the video that I want to go, I'm going to restrict myself to 4 main topics. Number 1, what is exactly the point of growing your own mushrooms? Why would I want to do this? Number 2, what kind of mushrooms can I actually grow myself? Number 3 is going to be more of a practical application because I'm going to show you exactly how to grow your own mushrooms, or how I do it, from identifying the tree we're going to cut all the way to the inoculation process. And number 4, I'm going to go over some questions that I'm probably going to get by the end of the video to make sure everybody's on the same page. Okay, so number 1. Why would anyone want to cultivate their own mushrooms? What is the point? What is the benefit of doing so? It's very simple. If you've ever gone foraging for mushrooms, you know darn well that is going to be a lot of calories expended in order to try to find these things. Okay, if you have mushroom areas that you've already identified, then yeah, you can pull back on the caloric expenditure. But if you are going out to try to find mushrooms, initially don't have your spots yet, it's going to take many miles to be able to identify where those mushrooms grow and what time of year, because you're probably going to be walking by the same spots multiple times throughout the year, realizing that mushrooms don't show up until this month. So in order to find mushrooms foraging, it's going to take quite a bit of calories to do so. Now you're also going to have to understand that there are quite a few types of mushrooms out there, many of which that are not edible, or some are even poisonous. So you really have to know your identification to make sure you're not grabbing something that's poisonous or toxic that could potentially harm you, make you violently ill, or even kill you. So having to know all different types of mushrooms and bring field guides is very important while you're foraging. When you grow your own, you're going to know exactly what type you're putting into that log and which one to harvest. And finally, some mushrooms are just some that don't show up like 2 weeks out of the year. So instead of having to be at the mercy of, like, say, morels, you're basically having to go between a 2-week period. Okay, it usually happens the last 2 weeks, or last week of March, first week of April here in my zone. So in those 2-week span, that's all you're going to get. So if that's the only mushroom you really like, or you like other ones, then you're going to be like, wow, I only got 2 weeks out of 52 to actually harvest what I want. But that also applies to mushrooms that you might buy at a store, okay? Mushrooms are seasonal, so sometimes you're not gonna be able to find certain ones until a very small select time of year. Now, if you're able to go to the farmer's market, by some odd chance someone actually carries mushrooms, you might be at the mercy of other people going there before you and getting those mushrooms. So you might be SOL even if it is the proper time of year. So you have to be the first one there at whatever producer happens to grow these. Not to mention, only certain grocery stores only carry like white bud mushrooms and maybe portobellos. So you don't really have a very big expanse or different types of mushrooms that you can buy unless you do go to a farmer's market or someone that grows these things. So by growing your own, you're able to cut that middleman out and be able to grow the ones that you want. That way you can harvest whenever they pop up. Okay, so number 2, which mushrooms can I grow? Very simple. The main ones that you're going to want to stick to are going to be the ones that are very easy to colonize, very aggressive colonizers, and ones that you're going to be able to spot from a distance that you know for a fact what it is. Okay, you're going to try to avoid the ones that have poisonous lookalikes, and you're going to want to stick to the ones that you know for a fact, I know what this is. One of the absolute easiest to grow is going to be shiitakes, and shiitakes is absolutely one of my favorites, probably my top 2 favorite mushrooms, because it can grow very big. It's got an absolute amazing flavor, an umami style flavor, and it can be stored very easily. So I love growing shiitakes because it's a very quick colonizer. But you can also grow things like oyster mushrooms, lion's mane, chicken of the woods, wine caps. There's a very big variety that you can actually grow. Some are still in the experimental stage. So this isn't one of those things where you have to be limited to 1 or 2 types. You can actually grow quite a few. And as the oysters, there's like 4 subtypes of oysters you can grow, one of which I'll be doing today. So it's almost as if whatever type of wood you have on your property that you can find, that's going to determine what kind of mushrooms that you can grow. Okay, so now we're going to get into the practical application of this video. I want to show you exactly how you can go ahead and inoculate your own logs to grow your own mushrooms. So first things first, you have to determine which type of mushroom you want to grow. I like eating oyster mushrooms. Oyster mushrooms are one of my favorites, and a type that I've found routinely on this website that I go to all the time, I always go to northspore.com, is going to be the golden oyster. Now the reason why I picked the golden oyster is because it performs better in a more hot, humid environment like mine. I've grown blue oysters. I've shown you a video on a short of what they look like. They just don't pop up regularly, and when they do, if it's anywhere over 60 degrees, the slugs and bugs are going to get at them first. So hopefully, if I can grow these, they'll be a little more proliferous, and I won't have to worry about near as many bug issues because it's a hot loving, or not say hot loving, but a more heat and humid loving mushroom. All right, now that you figure out what type of mushroom that you're going to be using, you're going to need to find out which kind of wood that mushroom's going to like to grow on. Not all mushrooms grow on wood. Some of these types that you can buy, the sawdust strains or the grain spawns, actually grow on things like straw, so they're very easy. Straw or chopped wood, wood chips. So you can easily grow those in like a bed like that. But I'm doing them on logs because I like to, certain types of mushrooms that grow on logs, which is why I got the oyster and shiitakes. So in order to do that, I have to get logs. In order to get logs, I have to identify which type of tree that these mushrooms like, find the tree in the woods, and cut it down with a handy-dandy chainsaw. You don't have to have a chainsaw, you can use an axe, but that takes too long and it doesn't leave everything quite as neat as I want. So if you have a chainsaw or you don't have a chainsaw, you need to invest in a quality one. All right, so a few more things that you're going to need are going to be a drill bit so you can actually drill out into your logs the size plug that you're going to be using. This one comes as a certain size and it has a stopper, so you know when you've gone too far. You're clearly going to need a drill. You're going to need a small little mallet. This is a dead blow to be able to hit or tap in your plugs, and then you're going to need some wax. The whole purpose of the wax is to seal that plug once you put it in the log so it doesn't dry out and actually kill that mushroom mycelium that's in there. So you get the wax and you can melt it. I went and got me one of those like thrift store pans that cost $2 with a lid. That way it's a heavy bottom and I could melt this wax inside, bring it outside, and it's still going to remain melted for about 20 minutes. So on the website you can actually get the type of wax that you need. You can use beeswax, paraffin wax, whatever, it doesn't matter, just some type of wax. And these little daubers here so you can dab it onto the log that you need. So go ahead and invest in a heavy bottom pan from, like I said, a thrift store, one that you're not going to use for anything else besides this, and that way you can melt your wax that you can also purchase on the website and put it over your plugs once you put them into the log. You'll see what I'm talking about in a second. All right, as you can see, I'm trying to do some forestry stand improvement. There's my stand right there, and I'm trying to get more sunlight right here. That's east, so I need to cut down this poplar tree. So this one's going down right now. All right, and she's down. Cut the wedge and it wanted to spin off on me because the awkward terrain, but I got it down. So now I'm gonna cut it into sections that I can plug off. All right, well, this is as far as I've gotten. It's starting to rain, so I really wouldn't care if it was just rain, but I'm hearing thunder. So that brings lightning, and it's not a good idea to be in the woods cutting the chainsaw with lightning, so I'll come back out when it's done. All right, I don't know why I didn't film it before of it standing up, but this is a oak that I've been meaning to take down for a long time because it's literally between mine and my neighbor's house, and it blocks my garden of all the morning sun. So I cut it down so I could get a little bit more light. Not to mention it's an oak, so it's literally the perfect mushroom bearing log for like shiitakes. Shiitakes love oaks, so if I had the oak, I had to take it down anyway. There's some poison ivy on it. I'll pull the poison ivy off, but yep, it's gonna be real good mushroom logs right there. All right, so here are the logs. This is my tulip poplar log. As you can see, I have 6 of them. And here is my oak. Again, I have 6 of them. This widest one right here is 9-inch diameter, 7-inch diameter, and these are varying between the two. And over here, the widest one that I have, the biggest diameter, is that one in the middle, and it's a 7-inch diameter. All right, now when it comes to drilling out your areas for your plugs, it's very simple. All you're going to do is you're going to take your drill bit and drill and try to go in a straight line so many inches apart. I usually try to stick to about 6 inches apart. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and you just do that over and over again. Alright, so now we're going to take our mushroom, this so happens to be golden oysters, going into tulip poplar logs, and you'll see why you have the drill bit the size that you do, because it's the exact size of these little dowels right here. See these little white hairs and stuff? That's the actual mushroom mycelium, and it's on these dowels. And all you do is you take these dowels and the holes that you just drilled, you put them down in there. Once you get them down the hole, you can press them down, or this is where the mallet's going to come into play to actually put them and seat them all the way. I'll show you what I'm talking about in a second. But see, you just take all mushrooms that you find, or the dowels, and you put them down in the holes that you just made. See, this is where the mallet comes into play. You just put them down. It turns into Whack-A-Mole, one of my favorite games. And it should come as no surprise, this is an extremely enriching and easy task that even younger children can do. My child obviously here is 4, and she is very adamant about using the hammer. I think all kids are, and see, she gets it. So you also have an ability to get helpers to help you. All right, now we got our wax, it's melted, and we just take our little dauber here, and all those little dowels that we just put down, we're going to cover them up with wax, okay? The whole purpose is so they don't dry out. Alright, so now that I got the poplar all populated and waxed up, we're going to put it off to the side. But before I do that, I wanted to go over a few questions that I'm probably going to get. The first main one is, what type of wood do I need? Well, there's a little handy dandy chart here that shows you the best suitable ones that are okay, and then ones that you should not use per what mushroom. And it comes from North Spore's website. I'm going to show you it right now. So I know this is kind of hard to see, but there's a better version if you actually go to the website. We'll be able to zoom in and do all kinds of good stuff. But if you look over to the left, you'll see the types of mushrooms that you can grow and buy. And if you look to the top, you'll see the different types of wood. If you look at the star, it's the best suitable, check is suitable, and X is not recommended. Well, I have in this video the golden oyster, and if you look where you see a star, you see it on aspens and you see it on cottonwood, but you also see it all the way over on the tulip tree or the tulip poplar. So that's why I decided to go ahead and cut down a tulip poplar for my golden oysters. And if you're also looking for shiitakes, shiitakes grow on very few with the star, but as you see by the oaks, there's a nice star there. So that's one of the reasons why I cut down that oak. It's one of the reasons why I cut down the tulip poplar. They are the best suitable trees to grow the types of mushrooms that I have. Now the next question I'm probably going to get is, do I need to be in a specific climate for this? No, as long as you're in the United States, you should be okay. United States, Canada, a temperate zone. Tropical might have a few more issues just because a lot of mushrooms require cooler temperatures to fruit. So you might have problems in, say, the tropics, but anywhere basically in the continental United States and north, you should be okay. A lot of mushrooms are seasonal as long as you keep them out of the sunlight and keep them from drying out. So I put mine on a north-facing hill in the shade all year round. As long as they get rain, then you will see fruiting as the temperatures change, and you'll notice which mushroom fruits at which time, because usually they like a heavy downpour. Say you got 2-3 days of rain, and all of a sudden a cold front comes in, and it's between like 50 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit, you're probably going to get quite a bit of fruiting. Okay, so next question, what size log should I use? As you heard me say earlier in the video, I said the diameters of the log. Basically, the rule is for every inch in diameter is for every year of fruiting that you're going to get. The golden oyster, since it's on a softer wood, I doubt it's going to be a year per inch of diameter, so I probably just cut that in half. So a year for every 2 inches in diameter. But for the oaks, absolutely, you will get 1 year per inch of diameter. So for 9 inches of diameter in the oak log, I'm probably going to get 9 years of fruiting, which is amazing. Now keep in mind, they recommend going between 3 to 4 feet in length and between 4 to 6 inches in diameter, only because that's basically what a lot of people are going to be able to move. I found if you use a hand truck, you can move heavier logs. And yes, I actually did it last year where I did a 12-inch diameter log. You've seen a picture of it. I'll show you a picture right now. This is my best fruiting log because it's so big. It's got so much nutrition and moisture, and the mushrooms just love feeding off of it. So I get such humongous flushes of mushrooms because the log is so round. Now, I had to roll it to its to its location. I could not carry it because it's so heavy, which might be another reason why they tell you to stick to a certain size limit. So just keep in mind, if you can move it to a location, use a hand truck, use a pallet jack, whatever you got, multiple people, then do so. But in my general experience, the bigger diameter, the better nutrition for those mushrooms and the bigger flushes you're going to get. Now, how long is it going to take to fruit? This one's it could be whatever, depending on your climate. But for me personally, when I inoculated in July 2023, I had my first flush by July 2024. It wasn't a big one, but it was letting me know that the mycelium successfully inoculated that log, and the shiitake mushroom spawn that I put in there was the overwhelming favorite of mycelium that took over that log. The whole problem is if you cut a tree down and you wait a couple weeks before you plug it, then you might have a competing mushroom get into that wood before you put the one you want in. And some of these mushrooms, especially things like chicken of the woods, lion's mane, a few other ones, hen of the woods, they are not the best competitors. So they might get beaten out by something like a turkey tail or another inedible fungus. So you have to keep in mind when you cut these trees down, time is of the essence, especially if it's hot outside. So when you cut them down, the faster you can plug them, the better chances you have of successfully inoculating that log. So again, remember time, you gotta try to get the plugs in as fast as possible. The quicker you can get them plugged and waxed and put away to be inoculated and to actually gather the spores and all the stuff they need to actually take over the log, the better it's going to be for you. But in general rules, when it gets to about this time of year, late spring, I probably won't see a result from this until either the next spring at the earliest or more than likely the fall of next year. So I'm going to have a good year wait before I actually see anything, which is okay. I don't have a problem with that, but a lot of people don't, like to see instant gratification or instant results. This is the ultimate investment because you're going to do all your work beforehand and you're going to wait a year before you see any kind of results of what you're doing. So the faster you can get this done and waiting, the quicker it'll be up and you can actually start harvesting mushrooms. And finally, what size flushes can I expect to get from certain logs or certain types of mushrooms? Well, I only have had a few flushes of my oysters that I did 2023. And they weren't very big yet. Again, weather's a factor here, but my shiitakes have been absolutely amazing. So let me show you a couple flushes from my shiitakes. Alright, so I think I'm going to wrap up the video now. If you have any other questions or something that I did not cover in this video, do me a favor and put it down below in the comments. I will do my best to at least answer it or point you in the right direction. All of this stuff that I got, the drill bit, the wax, the mushroom plugs, I got from northspore.com. They're not paying me to say this. It's just, a website that I've used for years for all my mushroom supplies. I'll put that down in the description so you can click on it and go check them out if you would like. This is just one of those things I really like doing because I love mushrooms. I love foraging for mushrooms, but I don't always like going out every other time it rains and looking for mushrooms if I don't have to. If I could look out on my porch, look at where I have my mushroom logs stacked, and if I see mushrooms popping up, boom, I just got some dinner tonight. So that's kind of one of the main reasons why I like doing this. So if you're like me and kind of lazy and like to plant a whole bunch of perennials, that way you can do all the hard work in one year and then reap the benefits for year after year after year, then you should probably look into mushroom cultivation or farming your own mushrooms, because that's exactly what it is. You do all the hard work one year and then you can harvest mushrooms year after year after year. It's like the best thing ever. So if you learned anything at all from this video, do me a humongous favor and give this one a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you are not. Recommend the video to someone who you think might appreciate it, and I will catch y'all on the next one. Okay, bye. Now hold on, we aren't finished yet. I forgot one very important thing. When you put your logs in a shady place, you got to make sure some of them you keep them off the ground. As you see, this is that big log of the oak shiitake. I'm keeping them off the ground with bricks. As this one, it's a little log house style. I always have to do it at a curve so it doesn't want to fall off. This is the previous one that I've had that has fruited for me for about 2 years now. It's also on bricks, and every time we get a decent heavy rain and temperature drop, it's going to fruit. We're also going to go over here to the golden oyster logs. All right, the oysters, they work okay in the log house method, but I'm trying to stand these up this time because when that base right here hits the ground, it's going to keep a certain level of moisture in that log, which is going to hopefully encourage fruiting. I've heard from several people that do oyster logs that do this. It's successful, so I'm giving it a try.